And welcome back. I know in the previous clip I'd commented I really didn't want to do any configuration changes to the truck with it happening to go to a pending recall, but I figured I would download the software that I was referring to and the appropriate adapter. I just got it in this morning. I figured we'd go ahead and try it. And yeah, the factory may revert my changes, in which case we just have to come back in here and turn those settings back on. But the piece of software that I'm going to use to enable the feature onto the truck is called AlphaOBD. I think I said that right. ODB, or yeah, I'm sorry, AlphaOBD. Yeah, that's it. You know, probably you may or may not be able to see it. I got just zoomed in as much as I could on the laptop screen. But basically, this is the Windows version of it, and it should allow us to go in there and turn on options on the truck, which are not currently present. It's something that typically, usually only a dealer can go in there and do, but I know a lot of people in the forums use this software, especially with Ram trucks, to enable features like heated seats, ventilated seats, to be able to, you know, use the mirrors that automatically fold in and fold out, and, you know, be able to enable those type of features once they change the hardware. So I figured I'd bring you along. Now, I'm going to have to hunt and peck my way through this software. It's the first time I'm going to use it. I know of one area that we have to make the change into. So I'm going to see if, one, we can at least get it to talk to the truck, and then two, go in there and make that one change and see if it makes any, you know, difference for us. I do have a battery charger on the truck setting in power supply mode right now, keeping the voltage nice and steady and constant so we don't get any possible fluctuations from the battery while we're doing this. So the first thing I'm going to do is launch the software, and I'll show you the dongle that we purchased for this. It was one of the two dongles suggested by the software manufacturer that was compatible. Let's see here. Yes, that's just my antivirus software. So if I say connect, oh, select a control unit model first. So this is going to be Dodge Ram. The model, Ram 1500. And it looks like that's the only 1500 option. So I don't see other ones. So yes, we want Ram 1500. And the function that we want, from my understanding, is going to be body computer. You can see we got several here to choose from. Vehicle system interface, central gateway module, TIPM, CGW, non-power net, body computer, my 2023 power net. Okay, so we don't have a 2013, a 2014, 15, 16, so that eliminates this group in here. Now we have a 2012, so we may be in this model year 2006 to 2012. That looks like that's what MY stands for, is model year. And these are all model year 2019, which obviously we don't have, and this is 2013, the present. So it looks like we need to be into the Central Gateway Module, TIPM CGW, 2013, model year 2006 to 2012, non-power net. Connect to the selected OBD interface fails. Check what OBD interface is powered, and it's within the Bluetooth range, typically 3 meters, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so it is not seeing our USB dongle. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do as it suggests and take that out of the ODB socket and put it back in. Okay, so I reset their adapter into the ODB2 socket. And still getting a failed. See, Bluetooth range typically 3 meters. See, that's interesting. See, I'm not using the Bluetooth module on this. Yeah, see, interface Bluetooth. So that's going to be our problem. Bluetooth, OBD link, V-linker. We are going to be we're going to be USB. We're not going to be WLAN. We're not going to be Bluetooth. We're not going to be this one. We're not going to be wireless. And the model that we purchased per them was an ODB Link EX. Okay, so that looks like that may be right there. Yeah, USB ODB Link SX-EX. And we need to look at our COM port. So there's a tip for you. If you're using the USB version, you may have to tell it where to find stuff. Okay, so it looks like we are on COM 3. Yep, COM 3. Okay, got it. I'm going to leave this alone. So I don't want to change any of the other parameters. And connect. Status connected. Okay, it says you down here, you can see that we're connected to Central Gateway Module. And let's see what else we can do. Status and faults. Read all faults. So there's our faults, basically our DTCs. And clear faults, more info, faults with manufacturer indicator light on. Got any of those? Error warning lamp not requested. Yep, that's a warning lamp. Warning lamp not requested. Warning lamp. So basically, I guess it looks like a warning lamp not requested just means that particular fault isn't triggering a check engine light. Okay, well, we can get in there and read false, but what we want to do is change system parameters. I don't want active diagnostics. I'm going to go back in the status and faults. Okay, plotted data. Got it. Okay, I'm not seeing. What I want to see is the ability to make changes. Oh, that's cool. You can read the odometer reading. Ignition key cycles 3. Okay, well, the good thing is we are talking to the vehicle. So I'm going to do this. Rather than let you guys just kind of sit there, now that I got a better idea of what's going on here, before I make any changes, once I find where those parameters are at, I will bring you back and kind of show you what I've seen here. But from what you can see so far, we are using the USB interface. I'll cover that dongle that we're using here, and you saw that we did at least have to go into the software manually and kind of tell it where to find it because it was defaulted to Bluetooth, which when it comes to doing programming and changes like this, I usually don't like to do wireless, especially on a platform I don't know, such as this. For the scan tools, it's fine to use. I don't mind using their Bluetooth dongles because their software and their communications methods are pretty flushed out. But let me hunt and peck at this for a little bit, and I'll bring you back when hopefully I get you some good stuff. One moment. And welcome back. So it was a bit tricky. It took me a little bit to kind of find this. So hopefully this helps anyone else trying this. When we finally got connected to what it calls the central gateway module, at least in this make, model, and version of RAM, then you go into the top, you go into active diagnostics, and there's a blank bar here. Well, this is actually a drop down. You drop this down and you select what active diagnostics you want to do. And what we need to do is make a change to the vehicle configuration. But before we do that, I'm going to back up the vehicle configuration to a file. That way, in case anything happens, we have a backup of our vehicle config. There we go. Okay. So you can see here it says TIPM configuration backup file was saved. So that way, in case something goes awry or we change a setting that ends up being a bad thing that disables something from the vehicle, something along that nature, in case we have to fail back to it, we can. So now what I'm going to do is grab this pull down up here at the top. And I'm just looking to see if they've got anything to do. So what they're saying we need to go into, from what I can find, is this option called car configuration change. And then we should be able to tell it to enable the heated seat module. But what I'm looking for first is just to make sure that it isn't in here as a separate item. See, there's a lot of options in here you can change, and that's why you kind of need to be careful with what you're modifying. Yeah, I don't see an option in here for heated seats. I'm just reading this again. Low beam, latch, diesel cabin heater, ignition run stop, fog lights, high beam, low beams, rear wipers, horns, radiator cooling. Wow, cool. You can change the radiator cooling on it. Fan pulse, if your fan's pulse width modulated controlled, that is. Yeah, just going through the enable, disable daytime running lights, tire size, yeah, horn chirp duration, delay lock, illuminated approach time. Okay, so what I'm going to do is go into car configuration change. This procedure allows you to change car configuration options. Select an option you want to change from the box below and click Start. Hint, make sure the log recording is switched on so you can trace the changes of the configuration will be rolled back at any time. Another hint, after making changes to the car configuration, cycle the ignition for at least 30 seconds. Hint, if ABS throws faults after changing tire size, run ABS initialization procedure available in the diagnostics. So, since it made a mention about log, we're going to come in here and we do have save log turned on, view log, and let's make sure that we have this in here. Okay, so it looks like we've got logging on. So I'm going to come back in the Lance Diagnostics, find setting. Just going to expand this out to hopefully make this easier. Okay, we are looking for ABS, ESB, EBS, heated seat present. That's what we're looking for. Vehicle config 1. Select value. No, I don't want regen reset. Looking for heated seat present. You see how it jumped on us? You got to be careful what we're doing here. And set. So we got vehicle config 1, heated seats. The value is going to go into set. And then we're going to start that. Okay, so current status of the component is not set. Click next to change the system setting selected. So just to make sure we're vehicle config 1, heated seats, the value is set. I'm going to click next. Procedure completed. So now what I want to do is disconnect okay, so we're done here. So I'm just going to disconnect the software now, since we're done, and I'm going to cycle the key for 30 seconds. Okay, so I'm gonna pause you just so it's not filling 30 seconds of dead air. Give it 30 seconds. I'll bring you back and let you know if we see any changes. One moment. And welcome back. So we got the first change in there. We cycled the key for 30 seconds, came back, and still no dice inside the cab. So I'm looking through the additional configurations here, and I see one under the cabin network for heated seat module, and that setting is not set. So the cabin's network, even though we're connected into the bus, is basically currently ignoring the module. So this is going to be change number 2. The first one was to tell it the heated seats are present, and the second one's going to be, at least currently, to tell it that the heated seat module is going to be set. So it's not set. We're going to make it set and start. Okay, so it should be on the network now. Okay, so that is set. Let me just make sure that took. It says it's set, so let's do this. Now, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cycle the key for 30 seconds, come back, check it, and make sure that is now set, and then we'll try it again. So one moment. Okay, welcome back. Well, we're getting closer. You can watch the buttons on the lights actually work now. For instance, if I can hit this, then you'll see it'll momentarily come on and then switch off. Same with the ventilated seats. It'll momentarily come on and then switch off. So now we need to see if we can see it, like if it's just throwing a fault code, or if we're still yet just maybe missing it in one more spot. So we've enabled the heated seats. We've told it that the heated seat module is on the bus. Now we need to see why it may be, momentarily wanting to turn these particular lights off. So one moment, going to poke at it for a bit, and I'll bring you back. Sorry, you're going to have to forgive the noise. We had to start the truck, but as you can see, we now have our heated seats. They're working. The seat is actually warming. I'm going to go ahead and turn that off. And our ventilated seats, if we turn that on, probably won't be able to hear it, but they're on over the truck noise. So the other part of the equation, and I'll cover this in a summary, is that if you try to turn these on with just the key in the ignition, it'll shortly turn them off, and I'll show that to you here in a minute. But let me get the truck shut down, I'll bring you back. 1 minute. And welcome back. So, as you saw in the previous video, and apologies for the noises and such, because unfortunately the truck has to be running in order for it to leave the heated and powered seats on. So, let's see what we covered here. The good thing is they function, and the buttons in the dash now work. But to review, what we did was that we needed this piece of software, which is AlphaOBD. Now, to kind of cover this a little bit, because it wasn't as straightforward as I thought it would be, is that we're in Dodge Ram Model 1500 function body computer, and we're in the body computer for this year, which is 2006 to 2012. So if we connect to that, and I need to put the key in the ignition and turn it on, otherwise we won't connect to anything. Okay, so to kind of review what we did, we connected to the body computer. And you see down here it says that we're connected. Hopefully this is coming through okay. It's hard to see in the viewfinder, but in order to change it, it was under active diagnostics. And then we did a backup first, just for the sake of making sure. Change car configuration. And if you're under find settings, it's easier, I found, to do it this way. So what we changed were two things: vehicle config 1, heated seat present to set, and the heated seat cabin network heated seat module to set. So we told it we have heated seats now. We also told it we have the heated seat module present. After saving those two, again, we did one at a time. So we changed the first one, key cycled it for 30 seconds, came back into the software, changed the second one, key cycled it for 30 seconds. And the cool thing is, after enabling it on the cabin network, which makes sense, and I'll show this to you, we can see it via our scan tool now and read codes and do actuation tests. Matter of fact, I was able to go into the scan tool prior to starting the vehicle and manually turn on the ventilated seats and the heated seats, and they worked just fine. But in order to do it from the cabin without the scan tool, the computer wants to see the truck running before it'll let you actually turn those features on and leave them on. It's for the sake of power and saving the battery. So from within AlphaOBD, once we were connected to the vehicle, once again, vehicle config 1, heated seats present to set, cabin network HSM heated seat module to set. Once those two were in there, we were good with the AlphaOBD software. And if you remember from the beginning, we actually had to come into the advanced mode at first because we were using the USB link and this was set for the Bluetooth one. So what I'm going to do, since we're here, just always like to disconnect when I'm done making changes to it, just to be safe. And we are using the USB ODB link, and this is one of the two modules they suggest to use with their software. This is the ODB Link EX, so we can go ahead and disconnect that. And I'm doing this on a Windows laptop. They do make an Android version of this software, so if you want to get the Bluetooth dongle, you can do it via an Android phone or an Android tablet, whichever you prefer. And I'm going to plug in the scan tool and show you that it can actually see this on the network now, which is actually kind of cool. So Dodge. Matter of fact, let me actually, you should be able to see that. 16 pin. I'm just going to do an automatic search so it finds the VIN and establishes communication. Yes, that is our truck. Just going to go into it now. The cool thing is, before, if you remember the previous video, in the previous video I believe it was in, we now see the heated seat module as a module in the truck, which is cool because it's now active on the bus. And we can come in here, we can read fault codes, which we should see one fault code. And you'll see implausible heated steering wheel temperature message received. Now, we're getting that one because remember, we didn't take the heated steering wheel out of the 2010 because it was lacking a lot of these navigation functions. Now, maybe we could have popped these switches out and replaced it with ours, but, you know, I didn't want to go through the hassle of changing the clock spring and getting one compatible with a heated steering wheel, plus all these additional switches and so on and so forth. It's just, you know, to me, really didn't need the steering wheel to be heated. So now, the interesting thing is, if you remember in the previous video, we wired up 2 temporary sources of keyed power. And interesting enough, after going through this exercise, one of the 2 handles power just to the heated steering wheel. The other power feed is for the heated seats. So I actually did try unplugging connector C4 from the heated seat module underneath the seat, and it did throw a fault about the power side being open. So I left it plugged in just so it would see power on that leg, because that module has been programmed to look for a heated seat, and I didn't see an option in the AlphaOBD software, even when I went into the heated seat module, to try to turn that configuration off. So I left well enough alone. It's powered up. It's always going to have this fault in it, which is, again, implausible temperature received for the steering wheel. What that's going to mean is it's just going to keep you from pushing the heated steering wheel button on the console, which again isn't a bad thing because we don't have it installed, so I don't care. It does not affect the operation of the heated seats themselves. They do get nice and warm now, and they do blow ventilation when you hit vent. Now, it's a one or the other. If you've got the ventilation on and you go to hit the heated seat, it turns the vents off, and vice versa. If you got heated on and you go to hit the vent, it'll turn the heat off. But they work. They both work. They both work on both sides. And if you remember from a very early previous video, when we got our parts RAM, it's no longer seeing the resistance faults that it was seeing in the heated elements that we replaced as part of the seat. So bonus there. So to kind of recap, we used a piece of software called AlphaOBD, which a lot of individuals use, especially on Rams. It allowed us to go into the, at least in this case, body computer and change those settings. Again, 1 for enabling the heated seat module on the cabin network, and 2 to tell it that the heated seats were now installed in the truck. Once those 2 were done, we were able to see it in our scan tool and actually get in here and do some actuation tests. And also, interesting enough, and I'll show you this is kind of cool, it doesn't seem to affect it, but you'll see that if you look at the module information, it's got the year, make, model, and VIN number for the part for the truck we took it out of, as well as the new one. Because you'll see on there, you'll see the original VIN, which is our parts RAM, and you'll see the current VIN for this vehicle, which is obviously the one that it's in. I don't know, I just thought it was kind of cool that it's aware we made a change. And you can actually come into actuation tests and turn on the heated and ventilated seat. So I'm going to say at this point, it's going to be a little bit, I think I'm going to make this its own video just due to the length and the content that it's in. And what we can finally do now is just, button up the back of our console, put our final lid on, now that we know that not only is our interior swap complete, but we've got heated and ventilated seats. So good deal. If you're looking to do the same, hopefully this helps you. Again, in order to make changes, at least on the Windows version of AlphaOBD, once you connect to it, you go into Advanced Diagnostics. Advanced Diagnostic, in order to back up, restore the config, or make a change to the body configuration, which we did here. Like I said, it wasn't very straightforward, but once I found another individual's posting on the forum that said, yeah, it's in the drop down at the top of the screen, and once you see it, it's like, oh, okay, well, there it is. Well, hopefully this helps, and hopefully this kind of ties up at least the mod for the heated and ventilated seats at this point. If you have not subscribed, please consider to do so. We've got a lot more to come on this truck. We're in the process of at least trying to get things finished up so we can get it down, get its inspection, and then once hopefully we can get through the annual inspection, and then we can really start looking into the other modifications we wanted made, such as all the engine mods. So if you haven't subscribed already, please consider to do so. We got a lot more to come. If you have already, I do thank you immensely, and I will wrap this up and I'll bring you back for the next one. But again, we got ventilated rears and we got heated rears. So awesome. Thank you much. Bye.